SSIONS.
Okay, yeah, okay, cool. All right, starting stream in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and going live. Cool.
Okay, so hello people on John. Are you doing it on C3 Media or on your own?
So I am talking to you on through blockchain, John, but I am streaming on C3 Media.
Okay,
That's okay. But
that's fine.
you sound really muffled. Is it just me or?
Can anyone else hear me as muffled? Mike, Xander.
A little bit.
Okay,
Maybe.
well, it's possibly because
Not now.
I'm not using my headset. I'm using my my Bluetooth headset on my phone. So anyway, so crypto hacks. We had a lot of crypto hacks recently. We talked about it in our own podcast in the last 3 episodes. At least 3 episodes, probably more like 5 episodes. There's a lot of stuff from Lazarus, and in general, the big Axie Infinity hack that's still going on. No, it's not the hack is done, but the people are trying to move the money around. Unsurprisingly, $625 million worth. It's yeah. But the kind of the general idea here is that I'm just going to offer my 2 satoshis. I mean, I'm not a security IT security. I know about IT security, but I don't do it. My partner Chris does. More of our IT security guy for my farm. But at least my understanding thereof is that a lot of people get something running, some kind of coin running. They get stuff up and running, start doing NFTs and or other activities involving DeFi or just trading coins, and they don't think about locking down their protocols. And when you're making money hand over fist, probably the way Luna was doing, you don't really think, oh, we could have money stolen from us. Or having side chains like Axie Infinity. There are very smart people out there, and some of them are dishonest. So now there's easier and easier ways for people to just take billions from other people who aren't smart about keeping track of their protocols and coins and code.
Well, like the old saying is, not your keys, not your coins. Currently, I searched crypto hacks just generally, and I found already 3 new top articles here from Cointelegraph, Bloomberg, talking about crypto securities experts raking in $430,000 in salaries amid spike in hacks. So, people that are in crypto security right now are making nearly $500,000 a year because it's such a lucrative business right now. It's crazy how much money you can make in crypto security. Dude, that's where the money's at. If I had the skills, I would definitely apply. There's no questions about that, man. Who wouldn't want to make $500,000 in a year, right? I mean, in 2 years, you got in 2, 3 years, you got your maybe 5 or 6 years, you'll have a home in the Bay Area.
I don't know. It's hard to put a price on not needing to look over your shoulder.
Yeah. The sleuths who protect crypto from hackers are raking in money. Yep. Crypto traders move to hardware wallets after hack. Okay, this is Arculus wallet. You guys ever heard of that?
No.
So I'll read this article here. Hacks and bankruptcies continue to roil the digital asset industry, but these setbacks have become a boon for the makers of hardware wallets who have seen their sales spikes as customers rush to protect their crypto assets. French startup Ledger saw its day-over-day sales balloon 400% in the 24 hours after the $5.2 million hacks involving digital wallets based on the Solana blockchain earlier this month. According to the company's chief experience officer, Ian Rogers, unlike many digital wallets, hardware ones keep are the passwords they need to access their blockchain assets offline. Elliptical, a Hong Kong-based company, saw wallet sales rise. Website's traffic jumped 50% in days following the Solana wallet hack. According to a company spokesperson, the sales of KeepKeys hardware wallet following that attack, said the firm's chief technology officer, who goes by the pseudonymous Pasta Ghost. The hack stemmed from the digital wallet made by Slope Finance, who published earlier this month that there was a security flaw in the third-party service provider it used. Quote, These things remind people that security and self-custody are important, Rogers said in an interview. While Ledger typically sells most of its wallets on its websites, there was a big bump in in-person sales at electronic stores. Best Buy, Rogers said, the device. I didn't know Best Buy actually sold ledgers. Did you guys know that?
Yep.
I did not.
That's news.
I mean, it's not in store. It's online. A lot of things that Best Buy sells aren't things that you can go to the store to buy.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
It's actually quite disappointing because you'll get there and they'll be like, "Nope, that's an online thing. We'll have to bring it. We'll have it shipped here." Like, oh, great! Why didn't you tell me that in the first place?
Yeah. While the Ledger typically sells most of its wallets on its website, there was a big bump in-person. Yeah, I already read that. The rush at Best Buy shows just how urgently people wanted to get their hands on a hardware wallet, according to Rogers. Quote, "It's the only place to get ledgers in less than an hour," he said. Look, well, if you're getting it online, you're not.
Maybe they do have some then. All I know is they didn't have them here. So.
Okay. Yeah. The collapse of lending platforms such as Voyager Digital and Celsius Network, which includes freezing withdrawals for customers, has spooked users. Keep Keys Postigo said, "This has helped spur interest in hardware wallets like the company's product, which resembles a small external hard drive," he said. And that's the end of that article.
Right. So Mike and I were talking about kind of the consequence or the result of this exact thing. As you said, John, not your keys, not your coins.
You got equals nachos.
If you have them, like John and I both have, disclaimer, is that a disclaimer? Our involvement in Celsius has lost us the privilege of some of our coins because we let Celsius hold on to it while it was earning us interest. Of course, all that interest and those coins are still in the hands of Celsius. And at this point, we're not sure if we're going to get more than half of it back. But as Mike and I were pointing out earlier, the key herein is that we need more OTC, over-the-counter trading. Right, Mike?
Oh, hell yeah.
So one of those
Definitely.
methodologies is atomic DEX, right?
Is my second favorite. Yeah, I'd say my favorite would be Bisq. Bisq has been around for a while, and they're really good.
So this is something for me because, and I don't mind saying this, if anybody's interested, I don't know if Xander, if you're into it, or Brave, or even John for that matter, we've been really getting into Panda Coin. Mike has made a Panda Coin that he produced an asset of on Raven in the asset space. But I too am very much interested in Panda Coin. The reason Panda Coin is cool, in my opinion, that you do it from folding at home. So using the folding at home tool, you can crack diseases, crack the code of diseases and all this data analysis that needs to be done on all these different diseases, including COVID, actually. And they pay you for it. You get paid. And we tell about a 10-to-1 ratio. So for every point you do in folding at home, you get actually every 10 points in folding at home, you get one Panda Coin at this current level. Not a whole lot of people doing this from my experience, but the point I'm trying to get at is currently, from my experience, and I'm looking on like CoinGecko to check out Panda Coin, which is, if you guys are interested, P&D is the letters, comes up as Panda Coin. The problem with Panda Coin is it's kind of hard to trade, and it would be nice to be able to trade. I'm keeping all my Panda Coin currently in my own Node wallet, so it's definitely my keys. But the current market, I believe, is either BitUber or alt markets. And alt markets, yeah, I've never been able to trade much in alt markets. I have done some really weird coins on alt markets, but it's very low volume, particularly on BitUber exchange. So the advantage, of course, would be over the counter is find somebody who wants, 10 or 100 Panda Coin and is willing to give you some Raven coin or whatever it is you might be looking for. All kinds of people. I mean, I'm a person who owns more than 250 distinct coins, so I have a lot to trade. But it would just be not a kind of combination trades, right?
Yeah, I was thinking it would be really cool in the future if you could trade like a basket of assets for a different asset, like let's 5 Monero and 5 Ethereum, you wanted to trade that for like 0.1 Bitcoin or something weird like that.
Yeah, and so in general, the one of the big aspects, and even though Celsius itself wasn't hacked, one of the problems we keep running into is that you're leaving your coins on the exchange because that's the best place to exchange them, but then the exchange gets hacked and you lose your coins. So even though we're having all these hacking, I don't know if we should talk more about the problem with security and hacking on the central exchange, or if the conversation should really head more towards not using exchanges. And I think, tell me, of all the people who are here, and I know C3 Media can't talk because it's just listening, who here likes keeping their coins on exchanges?
Negative.
Okay, Jon Snow.
Well, I'm like 50-50. I just like to have the availability on exchanges to if I want to swap or buy other coins. That's the only reason why I want them on there, just to have it ready to go.
Right, and that is, of course, the problem, right?
But yeah, exactly. But like I told you many times, and I told everybody many times before, I don't know why I do that if I'm literally a hodler, meaning once I buy them, I am holding them indefinitely, until obviously until there's like a big massive surge up, 1,000%. Then there's some consideration there to sell or swap into other coins.
But there's another problem. Is remember what happened with Robinhood and Coinbase when something starts happening and people are trying to sell off quickly, you can't sell.
Yeah. They'll freeze.
Even if you keep it on the exchange, you can't do anything with it.
Yep.
OTC is really the only way to do that. And even though you might get ripped off to some degree, because a person's like, well, the market's crashing and I don't really want to, buy that much. Part of the reason I look at this as a Hotbit. Hotbit was accused of this, and I know they're not the only ones. Of a lot of the trades were just bots, and they're just making all these trades back and forth constantly to make it look like there's actually action on their exchange. Well, when you're selling in a downturn or a bear market, who's buying from you? Well, the bots are buying from you, of course, and that's why, in my opinion, that these exchanges are shutting down when the market drops so quickly, because they're like, well, we don't want to buy all this stuff up, but we're trying to make a market. What we'd rather be doing is selling. And so anyways, I guess what I'm trying to say is I get the impression, I mean, I know Mike didn't answer, but I'm absolutely 100% certain. He's like, no exchanges. How about you, Xander? Brave? I don't know, Brave doesn't have a voice right now, but. Xander? Are you still there, Xander? Okay, well, I don't want to take up any more airtime without anything. Basically, the point is, although some people definitely do keep their coins on exchanges, we all know what can happen when you leave any coin on an exchange, and that is it can get lost, it can be stolen, it can be rug pulled, and there are these issues in general across the board with keeping them in centrals, when the whole concept of decentralization is to keep it off decentralized locations. So, but yeah, OTC. I guess as you said, Mike, a good place to trade is Atomic Dex. And what was the name of the other one?
BISC. BISQ.
Okay, yeah, that's right. BISQ. I remember them. So
I actually have some Bitcoin.
If I recall correctly, BISC is not web-based. You actually have to download the app, right? And then you have to deposit some Bitcoin in your wallet, correct?
It doesn't Binance
No, you don't have to deposit anything. You can deposit whatever currency you want.
Okay.
Doesn't Binance have a DEX? It's like Binance.org?
Maybe. They don't have a DEX I'll ever use.
I'm pretty sure they have a DEX. The reason I said it was because a long time ago I needed to exchange some BEP2 for BEP20, and they're just like, well, you can't do it here anymore. That's illegal. You need to go do it on our DEX.
Yeah, it's bnbchain.org.
Yeah, okay. I guess they changed the name. But I know that you can use their wallet, the BNB wallet, on Brave or Chrome to do the exchanges. so you don't actually have to talk, go into a DEX or something. They just, the wallet will let you exchange with other people. This location. But yeah, BISC, bisq.network is the website for BISC DEX. And then, of course, Atomic DEX, which I also use, are two great places to exchange your coins without having to dump them on some exchange. One of the biggest problems, I joined another DEX, not DEX, centralized exchange, a SEX? Checks? What would it be? Centralized exchange. Maybe it's a Cenex. Anyways, one of these ones where I was just trying to exchange a different coin that I recently got into, and I didn't, foolishly, check to see how much the minimum withdrawal amount is. So I moved like $15 worth or something, and they're just like, no, you need $50 worth. I was like, I don't want that. Damn it. In order to withdraw, you need, because we have this huge requirement for, when you pull stuff out, we're going to take a huge chunk out of your ass in order for you to withdraw from our exchange, because we don't want you to leave, and we prefer you just never leave and leave your money with us. So that's another reason, in my opinion, for not joining a centralized exchange in order to exchange any money. So yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Hey, Jake, you're still mining, right?
Mining what explicitly? Because I'm mining a lot of stuff.
In general.
Oh yeah, no, I'm mining at least 10 different coins right now.
Have you noticed your power bill go up a lot, or no?
I don't have a power bill.
Lucky guy.
Yeah, but this is the reason nice. I am mining where I'm mining. What'd you say, Xander?
Sounds very nice.
Yeah, I've offered. Yeah, I've offered people to send me their hardware, because that's literally what I do. I mine using other people's hardware. I do have my own hardware, but I have at least 6 customers that it's their hardware, and I just maintain their hardware for them.
Here's an article that I would like to read when you guys are ready.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, this is from CoinDesk, written by Eliza Geritsky. The rise of illegal crypto mining hijackers and big tech's response. Big tech firms like Google and Amazon are on high alert about crypto jacking threats to their cloud servers. As this type of attacks grow more prevalent, consumer awareness remains the key to cyber defense, experts say. Crypto jacking is a type of a cyber attack whereby hackers hijack a computer's resources and use them to mine cryptocurrencies. The most popular mined this way is the privacy coin Monero, which is widely used throughout the dark web. The cloud services providers are essentially renting out apartment buildings to their users, said Wei Shanti, cybercrime specialized officer at Interpol. They have limited visibility into what users are doing, and if they peek inside those apartments, privacy issues arise. Hence, there isn't much that cloud providers can do to prevent users from downloading cryptojacking malware that infects their computers. Instead, when it comes to cryptojacking, Interpol's top priority is to educate the public, about the threats this kind of malware poses, so that users can alert authorities, he said. Cloud service pool hardware resources, offering them a virtualized on-demand service to paying subscribers, often taking up city blocks worth of data center space. These powerful, globally distributed systems are a juicy target for cryptojackers. By hacking into one virtual machine, they can gain access to vastly larger hardware resource pools on these virtualized environments. Most companies and individuals rely on cloud vendors such as Google or Amazon to store data and run applications. When they use these services, they create their own virtual machines on the vendor's cloud and share them with staff, who in turn connect them with different devices. This process opens up several attacks to vectors for the cryptojacker to gain access to a company's virtual machines and perhaps ultimately the vast servers resources of the cloud vendor, which can include GPU farms and often used by enterprises to train artificial intelligence systems. We'll leave that there. Yep. Any comments on that? Obviously, hacking into computers and mining Monero has always been a thing. In fact, I'm trying to remember which program I used, and I did it with my computers because Monero is script based, so you can easily type up a quick little script code. And what I did was I created my own website for personal use, and when I'm away, I literally just remote into my computers and just open up my web page and just let my Monero, and it goes directly to my wallet. So my computers that I had at the house, when I'm not there, I just open up the website and just in the background just mine a Monero. I loved it. It was great, you know. But obviously, you can use it for really bad things. You just make people think that they're going to one website, which in reality they're actually being rerouted to a different website that is mining Monero in the background. Because that's how easy it is to write the script for Monero. I'm not a coder. You guys know I'm not a coder or developer, but the script for Monero is very, very simple to integrate into any website, any program. So simple, man.
Yeah, it's actually something that was talked about for quite some time. And I agree with the concept of a website owner who's giving you something like, here's our news articles, like we do when we're a news organization. You visit our website. We don't have any ads. And the reason we don't have ads is because we're using your computer in the meantime to mine Monero just temporarily while you're on our website. And I think people were doing that with NimIQ for a while, the Nim coin, because it's very easy to mine Nim, although Nim is ridiculously unprofitable. It will still let you mine some coins, depending upon the system's CPU capabilities, because it is kind of a CPU coin. I think it's Kryptonite. But Monero it is a coin, obviously CPU based only, because anything else can't do the calculations. And it's productivity. What is it? Threadrippers only do 50 to 60 kilohash on Monero, I think. The best of the best systems, like the 7430 AMD with 128 threads, I think, or 256 threads, does like maybe 90 to 100 kilohash. It's pretty ridiculously low. So it's I think it's a good idea, but man, does Microsoft and Apple and and Google, the owners of Android, the developers of Android, do not like this, and that's the reason it's so ridiculously difficult to get any kind of even Monero mining device onto an Android phone. I know a project right now of a guy who made up XMR or XMRig for Android, which I was using a bit on phones. It works pretty well. It actually does a pretty good job depending upon what kind of 800 series RISC-kip you're using. But like Snapdragon 800, 835, I think it can do, what is it? Anywhere from 2.5 kilohash upwards of 8 kilohash, which is actually rather impressive, honestly. But it's at risk of all of the danger of the phone battery blowing up due to getting overheated. So it's funny because I had a question from a person who watched my old videos on Smartphone Test Farm. He's like, "What phone should I use?" And I was like, "You shouldn't use a phone. You should use a Raspberry Pi or an Orange Pi or a Pi 64 or something. Anything that doesn't have a battery. Just don't use battery devices because they'll blow up, and you just don't want that." So, but I'm in favor of the idea of using mining to pay for what you would have used for ads. The problem with ads is they're not guaranteed. With mining, you're getting money. So
yeah. So the topic is crypto hacks, and we're having a nice discussion about that so far. It's been great. I do want to open this up to other people to have a conversation. So I want to ask you guys: have you guys personally experienced a hack amongst yourselves, either using smart contracts or you've been rugged? And I'm sure a lot of people have been rugged. Or your mining equipment, you're using the wrong pool, or you've been rerouted, or you haven't mined what you're supposed to mine because somebody else on the back end kind of taken a fatter percentage than they should have. We've been in it for a while, so I want to see what you guys' experiences with hacks in general. All right, table's open. Go ahead, Mike.
I rugged myself one time. I had a wallet with a bunch of crypto in it, and I got inebriated and encrypted it. I don't know the encryption.
Oh, you know what that reminds me of? I lost my private keys one time, man. Yeah, that's all bad, dude. I used to host up crypto meetups here in the Bay Area before I moved. Yeah, I moved out here. I used to come out here and do these meetups, and well, it was kind of pushed onto me, so I didn't mind doing it. And it was during the ICO boom. A lot of people were meeting up here trying to understand what Ethereum smart contracts were and what these ICOs are all about. And people were all into that, man. So I had the privilege of being an early investor into a few of them, and I did pretty good. And a lot of them were bad. Obviously, they're scams. The one that unfortunately, I'm not going to say what project that is because now it's a dead coin. So let me ask you. Well, hold on. I got two things going on. Okay, so I got rugged. I lost my private keys, and the third thing I was going to say is, have you guys? How do you guys define a project that would have been successful if the transaction fees were affordable as it should have been for Ethereum, right? Because the project that I invested into depended on thousands of transactions being processed on their platform, and people would have used it if the transactions were affordable like it was at the beginning. But as time went on, we all know that the transaction fees just skyrocketed, and people stopped using the platform, and thus the project ended up going under. So a lot of people lost out on a lot of money there, but it wasn't really the fault of the developers, because at the time when they went under, there was really no other blockchain to migrate to. Now, if they wanted to, I'm sure that they can easily port their project over to another blockchain, which as of now, it looks like they're not even around anymore. They just let the project go just because they lost a lot of money out of it. But yeah, that's my experience, man. Anyone else? We got some more people joining up. So the question is, have you experienced any hacks, crypto hacks, or just hacks in general, or you've been rugged?
I would say I've got to have been rugged, and I have. If people haven't already watched our podcast, foolishly put my private keys for my Exodus wallet on one of my old videos. Somebody wrote them all down and somebody stole all of my
losing connection.
Is it just me or my wallet that I accidentally put onto my video? I took the video down, so you can't check those private keys anymore. But I was an idiot, and I guess it takes one chance to be an idiot at some point in order to learn not to be an idiot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's why hey man, that's why you never reveal your private keys. Well, did you catch that? Did you guys catch that?
Yeah.
All right.
So don't show your private keys to anybody on one of your videos.
Yeah.
Take it from me.
So,
no, I've never been hacked other than just being a dumbass.
Early last month, I was I watch a lot of Twitch, right? I like to watch IRL on Twitch, and one of the guys that I really enjoy watching, this guy goes around to different countries, and he's very entertaining, right? I had the privilege of, and he's been streaming for years, right? Like over 5 years. I forget exactly how many, but over 5 years for sure. And I happen to be the first guy to donate crypto to him. And I said, hey, I'll donate to crypto as long as you show your private keys. He goes, yeah, what is that? I don't mind. I'm like, no, dude, I'm just joking. Like, obviously he knows nothing about crypto. Whatever you do, do not show your private keys if anybody asks you for the private keys. Do not, all right? Just leave it alone. Just forget about it, all right? Yeah, don't do that. Thank God I haven't done that. What I did do, though, and this is a bad one, I think, on my, this is my inexperience, my very amateur days. One of my computers I was mining on, right? CPU fried, typical, right? You continuously mine on a laptop, on a very, very old laptop, and the CPU ended up frying. And of course, I got upset because this was in the early days of Bitcoin, so I was mining Bitcoin. And, come on, I got it. Ended up frying. I got mad at my laptop and just smacking it around, breaking it. Come on, freaking work, man. Nope, never turned back on. CPU's done. I didn't know how to repair it. because all I knew how to do was just turn the power key, the power key on. That's it. And yeah, I didn't have any access to my wallet, my QT, because at the time there was really no wallets out there other than the QT. And of course, what I ended up doing was just literally taking my laptop out of satisfaction, throwing it in the dumpster. Unbeknownst, you can actually recover the data off the hard drive. Yes. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you just had your private keys, you could have it wouldn't have mattered, right? Because it's all on the blockchain. Your coins are on the blockchain, so.
Right, but at that time, I didn't know how precious it was to have those private keys. I always thought that the QT, my wallet, my laptop was just going to last forever. When it gets to a point, I'll withdraw it to another wallet. There was a couple mobile wallets, but they were very fidgety. They weren't really well polished. Yeah, those are good old times, man. Good old times. So crypto hacks. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's. I don't know if people are looking for preventative measures, as Mike and I were talking about with what we'd said earlier with over-the-counter trading. That's one way of keeping your own stuff. But we talked about, you said Ledger. There's a bunch of hardware wallets you can use to keep your coins safe.
Now let me ask you, how safe is it to do OTC or P2P with a stranger? Say, for example, you're using something like local Bitcoins. There's obviously stories out there about people using local Bitcoins, and they themselves have either been jumped, jacked, or shot. I don't think anyone's been killed yet, but yes, they've been jumped, they've been jacked, they've been forced to give their crypto away in a back alley. First of all, don't meet up with a stranger in the middle of the night in a dark alley. That's just, don't do that. Okay.
Yeah, go to a Starbucks or go to something in public, right?
Yeah.
You're thinking back alley. I don't even think you need to do a back. I was talking about using decentralized exchanges in particular, but over-the-counter decentralized exchanges. What I'm talking about, if you want to have a third party, there are third-party methodologies out there, but the ones that I've found so far only allow gargantuan transfers. So, like, the reason they even do this is they're saying, look, if you need to trade $100,000 effectively worth of Ethereum, we can help you do that. If you need to trade $5 million in Bitcoin, we can help you do that. But we don't support, at least the ones that I've seen, these bigger houses, they don't support a $5 effectively Ethereum or Bitcoin transaction, and they pretty much only deal with Bitcoin and Ethereum. It would be nice to have more decentralized exchanges. And like Mike was saying earlier, BISQ, and Atomic DEX are those kinds of places. So it is possible to make exchanges. Was that you're sending me, John?
Yeah, co-host.
Oh, there we go. I see. Sorry. It is possible to make exchanges in a kind of decentralized manner where you're not worried about whether or not you can, you're going to have your money stolen. I totally get it. Everybody's like, well, if I'm going to put up, 5 Ethereum and I want, whatever 5 Ethereum is in Bitcoin or whatever you're trading for, I want to make sure that money doesn't just go to the other person to exchange. It's kind of like the instantaneous, simultaneous transfer. What you need to be able to do is put the money up, and the other person puts it up, and you can see that they put it up, and they can see that you put it up, and then you both agree by whatever, digital interaction, and then both are exchanged for whatever that exchange amount is. And it can be more of an active exchange rather than, it could still go through a third party or even an application that does a third party thing like Bisq. And then that way that both money, that's technically being handled by something, if not a person. And then you can still make your exchange. Now, you can't make those massive exchanges where you're like on an exchange like what BitMEX used to do, which was trading it at 100x or 1000x leverage, where you can actually make a lot of money if the value goes up. You can't. I guess you probably could do that, but then that's why we have Bitcoin futures, right? Ethereum futures. You want to bet on the future. You want to make more money than you had before. There are other ways to do it, but that's still centralized. It would be interesting to see decentralized futures, if there are such a thing. Maybe there are. I don't know.
Raven Rebels, welcome. It looks like you wanted to speak, so now you're part of the roundtable.
Hey, how's it going?
All good, man. What's going on? Welcome to this episode of Crypto Hacks. What you got? What's your experience with crypto hacking?
Oh, thank you, man. I actually lost my private keys, and I was wondering if I could borrow some of yours.
Yeah, of course, man. That's what that's what we're here for, man.
Perfect. Send them in the DM. Thank you, man.
Got
Appreciate you.
All right. Thank you, man.
No,
Awesome.
I don't think
you can have my old Ethereum from my Exodus account because it's already out there in the public. So
I'll take
there's
it. I'll
nothing.
take anything.
There's nothing on it.
Just send it.
There's nothing. Yeah, there's nothing on it anymore. So
So I haven't been hacked in crypto yet, but there was this online game I used to play over 10 years ago called Habbo Hotel, and I used to collect rare furniture in the game, and I spent a lot of real money on it. And it was only because that back when I used to use the same password on everything. So I lost all thousands of dollars of my stuff because I was dumb, pretty much. So that's the only time I've been hacked. Yeah.
Ouch.
See, but if they were NFTs and they were in my wallet, it would have been a different story. So
Hold on a second. Hold on. NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain? I don't know, man. You probably still lose them.
true. Yeah. Well, you can't use the same password on a wallet. You know, it's private keys.
Right. But if you have them on OpenSea, yeah, say bye to your assets, man.
I have some OpenSea NFTs. Yeah.
What's your experience with it? Because obviously there's been there's so many articles out there. Like I could not spend enough time reading all these articles that are out there about people that have their assets on OpenSea, and either they can't withdraw it, either they've been hacked, or their assets just been deposited into OpenSea but never actually shown there, just completely gone. So it might be user error. But what's your experience on it?
I'm not a super user of it. I've only bought a few NFTs off of it, but I really enjoy OpenSea and I like Ethereum, the whole Ethereum experience, minus the fees.
Are you pro the migration towards proof of stake?
No, not really.
So are you going to stick with like Ethereum Classic or ETHW?
I'm going to still use Ethereum. I'm going to use Ravencoin, Bitcoin. I'll still use it. I probably won't. Well, I probably will end up using Ethereum Classic again.
What about Binance? How come you don't mention Binance? Or Solana?
I like Binance. You know, Binance BNB or BSC is basically Ethereum without the high fees. So I like to use Binance. You know, PancakeSwap is easy to use.
That's what I use, man. PancakeSwap is a beautiful thing.
And that's why I was trying to get the Raven or the wrapped Raven into PancakeSwap, so that people who can't. So people from Binance can basically buy into Ravencoin through PancakeSwap if they wanted to. I feel like if we had liquidity on PancakeSwap for wrapped Raven, that we could probably pull in more Binance people into the ecosystem. So that's my theory, at least.
Yeah, and I think Xander can speak more on this with his experience of going to conventions, of just seeing people's first experiences and understanding what a layer 1 blockchain is when it comes to asset utilization. You know, Xander, if you don't mind, please explain what you did to teach people how Ravencoin works in comparison to something like Ethereum. Oh, Xander? Not there.
Not sure he's here. He hasn't really said anything in a while.
Oh, okay. I should send him a message real quick. No, he had a really cool thing that he did when he was at one of the conferences. The way he explained it, I forgot exactly how he did it. I think what he said was he put a piece of string on a pin that he had there, like, right, pin over somebody, and then when they grab the pin, he'll hand. Right? That's what the contract is what he was saying. Okay. Now what he'll do is take the string off and hand them the pin, right? And he says, okay, this is what Ravencoin is. And he goes, what? That's it. It's yours to keep, and you got to keep the pin. There it is.
Yeah.
It's so simple, but it makes sense, right?
Well, it makes sense because some smart contracts can basically be programmed to take back or change your NFTs. But I also believe there's a way to program the smart contract to do, not that. There's a way to do a smart contract without admin keys that can, revoke coins and all of that. It's possible.
I agree, but the general person looking at OpenSea is not going to be looking into smart contracts. They're going to look into, oh, that's an ape coin. Everybody's getting into this. I want to get into this. Let's do it. They buy an ape coin. Next thing they know, now you have a banana. Everybody has a banana. You get a banana. I get a banana. Everybody gets a banana.
Yeah. That was a Solana thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So funny. Well, it's not funny, but it's smart contracts can be flawed. That's the problem, I think. But they can also be programmed in a way that, in my opinion, that can be really good. So I just don't think we're seeing a lot of the good smart contracts yet. But some are there.
This is the example. I'm going to interject on this. That one time I see the validity of what some in the U.S. Senate have said about protecting people. I can't remember which venture capitalist or which Bitcoin maximalist or someone who said this a while back said, what's happening it was Robert Reich. He's not a Bitcoin maximalist at all. Robert Reich said that the thing that's happening in crypto right now is the very thing that's been happening over the last 100 years in fiat. We've had 100+ years to watch what all the different scams that people have developed over this time in the fiat market. I mean, there's still new scams coming up all over the place, particularly social hacking. The one thing I remember my grandparents saying this back in the 70s before I was born. The thing that was going on was that elderly people back then were being scammed out of their money by having them, over phone conversations. People were, in their homes were being called. This is before computers really existed. And they would call people up and tell them they owed money for this, that, or the other. Those people would get all upset when they'd send money to this address, not knowing that it was completely a scam. And that still happens today. The difference is now it's you have an iPad or you have a MacBook or an iMac or something, and we need to fix your computer. And particularly if you guys watch Jim Browning, I don't know if anybody's seen him on YouTube, or Kit Boga, where these people go onto the person's computer, get control of it, make it look like they're on their bank, and then make it look like they accidentally received too much money when no money was transferred at all. Then they trick these elderly people who have no idea what's going on into sending them gobs of money because they think they're just repaying. Accidentally transferred $50,000 into your bank account. I was only supposed to put 500. Look at that. You can see it right there on your bank account because they just manipulated the HTML. And so those people end up sending the $40,000 back to the scammer when they never had it in the first place. So it's scams have been going on for a long time of, as they say, a fool and his money or her money parted. It's no particular fault of those individuals, but the whole point of the United States putting in all these restrictions and well, I guess restrictions is the best way of putting it, is to keep people who are not knowledgeable about tech from being scammed. So I agree with that. You, of course, should be knowledgeable. You should know what you're doing. But if you're elderly and just never learned it, well, maybe you're going to get taken advantage of. And it's been happening. It's not... Every new technology has had this problem. So it's not just computers, phones, any kind of the printing press. I'm sure people got scammed back then. And it's just a question of you not knowing what that person who's figured this thing out. It's immoral agents acting to figure out how to scam you. Same thing with smart contracts. It's the latest technology. There are smart people out there with nefarious purposes, and they're going to scam you. I mean, John says this all the time. He's like, I'm not a programmer, even though he's done plenty of programming. He may not be a professional programmer. He may not be a advanced high-level programmer, like people who get paid every day to do programming, but he also may not be aware of what the smart contract contains in it. And I would say neither do I. So a person can come up with a smart contract, create this. They say, oh, look, you can put your money into my smart contract and make interest off of the smart contract. Oh, by the way, my smart contract will be rug pulled at any second. Oh, you didn't read that? Too bad, sucker. I just fooled you by making you think that I transferred you too much money. Give me back my $45,000. Same thing, just different method.
I have another article here. This is a really good one right here. This is from Blockworks.co. The 9 largest crypto hacks in 2022. You guys ready? This one's written by Jack Kubinick. Hackers exploited a software bug in the Web3 music platform Audius to make off with $1.1 million on Saturday, but the funds are dropped in the nearly $2 billion bucket of funds lost to the hacks through the first half of 2022, according to blockchain security firm Biosin. The fiat value of hacked assets are on a pace to top the $3.2 billion lost in 2021, according to crypto security firm Chainalysis. Even amid a drastic slide in cryptocurrency valuation, Blockworks compiled some of the year's largest crypto hacks to see what went wrong and how protocols fared after being hacked. Okay, the first one is, can you guys guess? It's Crypto.com. January 17th, $35 million. In late January, a hacker managed to disable two-factor authentication on the crypto exchange Crypto.com and extract Bitcoin and Ether from customer accounts. CEO Chris Marzalek initially denied customer funds were lost before acknowledging the hacks days later. The company said it is transitioning to a multi-factor authentication in response to the exploit. Okay, the second one of 2022 is QBridge hack. January 27th, $80 million. A hacker manipulated a smart contract bug on the Binance-based Qubit Finance's QBridge to mint wrapped Ether tokens without depositing funds. The lost assets forced the developers behind Qubit to trim the protocol's staff and reclassify as a decentralized autonomous organization. All right, the third one is Wormhole, February 2nd, to $325 million. A hacker exploited smart contracts on the Solana to Ethereum bridge to mint and cash out on wrapped Ether without depositing collateral. Jump Crypto, the venture capital firm behind Wormhole, replenished the stolen funds to keep Solana-based platforms affected by the hack solvent. Wormhole renamed its bridge portal and currently holds over $480 million, according to crypto data firm DeFi Llama. All right, the next one is IRA Financial Trust, February 8th, $37 million. The crypto-focused retirement and pension platform was, I don't know that word, pilfered? Yeah. When hackers accessed a master key that bypassed all security measures to customers' accounts. IRA Financial Trust has since sued Gemini, the crypto exchange where customers' funds were stored, for alleged negligence leading to the hack. All right, the next one is Casio, March 22nd, $52 million. A string of fake accounts used an infinite mint glitch to put up worthless collateral for Casio's Cash stablecoin. The coins paid cratered to zero and has not recovered, according to data from CoinGecko. All right, the next one, which Jake has already mentioned, is Axie Infinity Ronin Bridge, March 28th, $625 million. The largest ever crypto hack measured in fiat dollars came after hacks gained control over a majority of the cryptographic keys securing the play-to-earn game's cross-chain bridge. 4 of the 9 keys were stolen when an accident developer clicked on a fake job offer PDF, according to the block. The Ronin bridge has since reopened with more validators through the game is hemorrhaging users. Next one is Beanstalk, April 17th, $182 million. A hacker used a flash loan where funds are borrowed and repaid in the same transaction to accumulate enough assets to control the stablecoin's governance protocol. The hacker passed a proposal to control the stablecoin's governance protocol. The hacker passed a proposal donating funds to Ukraine before making off with the collateral. Developers paused the protocol while undergoing audits and raising funds, but plan to reopen deposits in early August. All right, we're almost at the end here. The next one is Fei Protocol, April 30th, $80 million. A reentrancy bug in the lending protocol's code allowed a hacker to take out a loan while also withdrawing the collateral put up on the loan. Fei users passed a proposal to make investors whole through the DAO repaying the bad debt on behalf of the hacker. The Fei stablecoin remains at its dollar peg per CoinGecko. All right, our last one of 2022 so far is Harmony Bridge. June 23rd, $100 million. The North Korean linked Lazarus Group access to the Binance and Ethereum bridges 5 security keys, approving transactions, siphoning assets from the bridge. Harmony now requires 4 of 5 validator keys to reach a consensus on transactions and is yet to announce its plans to compensate users. Wow. That's a lot of money, man. That's a lot of money. It's only halfway through the year, too, man. Wowzers. Yeah, crypto hack is a reality, man. That's a reality. It's not going away. It's just they're just taking more and more money as more liquidity. It hurts. It hurts these projects that are actually doing really revolutionary things, not only with crypto but with real life. You know, trying to create real solid, real use case and real time transactions. And when hackers out here take the money, unfortunately, it does hurt these projects from developing the project even forward to the next phase. It's sad. It's sad to see that.
I was thinking about Bernie Madoff and his Ponzi scheme that he basically came up with ages ago. He obviously did the time for his crime, but think of all those people who lost all their money because of his, robbing Peter to pay Paul, which is what Ponzi scheme really is. The thing that blows my mind most often is the number of people who do not diversify. When it comes to a good thing, people are like, well, it's working. Maybe I should put my entire life savings into this thing. It's like, oh my God, what are you thinking? So Bitcoiners
are not thinking right.
All right. I'm not saying that Bitcoin itself isn't probably a good investment, but I'm saying if you're going to take, there was an example I'm thinking of after the fact when back in 2017, early 2018, when we had the first peak with Bitcoin, there's a fellow who took his $140,000 worth of life. I think it was actually Australian dollars, but let's just, for the sake of argument, dollars. 140,000 and his entire life savings and dumped it into Bitcoin, I think in late 2016. And I don't remember exactly what the price was then, but it was quite a number of factors less. After having done that, he sold in like November, which was before the peak. Got all of his coin out and made something like 1.2 million out of the 140,000 he put in. So obviously he pentupled his money, and that was a good thing for him. I had a similar experience, although it was only with a half a Bitcoin at the time. But I guess what I'm saying is that it's not in my nature to, as they say, put all my eggs in one basket. This is an old adage from probably thousands of years ago that you're not supposed to do that, because if you trip and drop your basket, yeah, you just lost all your eggs. Well, probably most of them. And that's what I just don't understand with people. I get it. If you see a good thing, you want to dump a lot of money into it. But how do you know 100% it's a good thing? Even if it's Warren Buffett you're investing in, I still wouldn't give Warren Buffett all my money, even though I know he has a good track record. So, in fact, I would believe that the man himself would say, do not give me all your money, even though he knows he could probably make a lot of money off your money. So to me, it just blows my mind how people are like, oh, well, I should just put all my money, my entire life savings, 250,000 or 50,000 or 10,000 into this new project that's come out. And then when it disappears and they're like, oh, what did I do? It's like, you were stupid in the first place. I don't want to call people stupid, but oh God, it just bugs me when people are just like, oh, no, put all my money in it. No. Or as they say, risk only what you're willing to lose. You know, if you're willing to lose everything, well, then risk everything. Sorry about ranting about it. It just.
Yep.
So
no worries.
I think hacking would be less painful if people weren't. I mean, let's say all the people who put money into these, like Axie Infinity and Solana, and all these people got hacked. Let's say that all the people invested had only put at most 10% of their net worth into all those investments. That the only amount of money they put in, each individual who's involved, was just 10% of their net worth.
Yeah.
Would people be as disappointed? Yeah, they'd probably still be disappointed. Like, oh, I just lost 10% of everything I own. Yes, but it was only 10%.
Yep. You stick to your guns, man. You keep saying that over and over again, which is great, because it's always good to remind people what's going on. Obviously, with all these hacks going on, there's people on social media saying, I can't believe that I put 100% of my life investments. I put my money, I put my wife's money in there, I put my children's future money in there, I put my house on mortgage, and now everything's in there, and they just took the money and just rugged us. And now I'm ready to commit suicide. Like, that's a sad reality. Like, no, you should never do that, ever. Absolutely not, man. Yeah, stick to what Jake is saying, man. 10%. If you lose it, it doesn't hurt as bad.
Or I mean, what I used to say to people, I used to do this all the time. Friends, family, people on the street, anybody. It's like, what amount of money, if you lost it, 5 minutes from now, would hurt? Would $100 hurt? Like if you had $1,000 in your wallet and someone just stole it from you, would you be like, oh God, that really hurt? Or would it be 10,000? I mean, I'm guessing most people in this chat are 10,000 would be a good chunk of change. But I've asked people, and some people are like $10 is too much. Some people are $100 is too much. Some people are $500 is too much. At that point, you have to take the same consideration when it comes to the coins. If you've got 10 grand, 25 grand, $85,000 sitting in one centralized exchange, and you don't know that tomorrow let's say Celsius, is going to stop all transactions, you can't get your money back. If you're worth $850,000, 85 might not be that bad. But if you're only worth 85, that's everything. It's like somebody came and burned your house down, right? Well, if you had insurance on it, then maybe you'll get something back. But right now, there's not a whole lot of insurance on crypto. So, you are your own insurance. Be your own insurance.
That's what crypto's all about, man. And that's what there's a sad reality going on with a lot of dependency going on with centralized exchanges, and I can admit to that too. Obviously, I put some in Celsius, and I was obviously trying to earn a little extra coin, and now it's all gone. But like you said, Jake, if I literally don't get nothing back, it's not going to hurt me. It sucks, but it's not going to hurt me. I still have crypto in other wallets. I'm still in the game, still hodling, and that's the way I play the game, right?
Exactly. So when it comes to hacking, regardless of the fact that we are aware that hacking is still a thing that's happening, and of course, it's because of security and because of people not. I mean, I've made this analogy in the past. People are scared, like if you're living in your house, whether you're renting or owning, and if someone really wants to get in your house, they can knock a wall down. They can knock your door down, right? They're going to get in if they really want. But most crime is a crime of opportunity. And I would say this is probably the same case here. Crime of opportunity when it comes to major exchanges is these people, maybe they do have really good security, but how do they get around it? Well, how did the Axie Infinity one happen? Well, it was a social hack, right? That's the easier way of going. If somebody really wants to get your money, they're going to get it. Yeah. The question is either do you have insurance? Like the example I keep thinking of is Hotbit. Hotbit went down because somebody got in. Hotbit was smart enough to have everything backed up. So what did the hacker do? When they couldn't get into any of the money, they deleted the servers. That's a pretty nasty, terrible thing to have to experience. I mean, all these virtual servers have to completely rebuild. But if you got it all backed up, you're going to be able to rebuild it. And that's exactly what they did. I mean, it took them a while, but they did. And I was grateful because I did actually have money in Hotbit at the time. And they had everything saved. And they got it all back up again. And none of the money was lost, which was rather impressive. So
All right. So we've been pushing a lot of FUD and FOMO right early on, but that's the reality of what's going on. We're just pretty much trying to bring awareness that there's a lot of hacks going on. Don't get caught up, because if you do, your grandma might not be there to hold you. I don't even know where I was trying to go with that.
we don't have insurance. You don't have insurance on crypto. If you do have insurance on crypto, great.
What I want to get to is now how do we protect ourselves? What's the best solution on making sure that we are not vulnerable to that kind of stuff? What's your experience? Let's talk, Jake. You and I, from our experiences, what have we concluded is the best way to protect our crypto?
Well, obviously, we should probably be making a T-shirt out of this one too, which is not your coins, not your crypto, not your keys. Pardon, not your keys, not your crypto. If you don't hold the keys, and you're the only holder of the key,
okay. So that's rule number one. Okay, these are your 2 satoshis for everybody listening or watching. That's your 2 satoshis, right? Number 1 rule is not your keys, not your coins. Everybody should already have that infused or burned into their brain cells. Not your keys, not your coins. Period. Okay. Right. And what that means is literally, okay, you need to download the Qt wallet if you truly want to hold ultimately your keys, unless you're going to a cold storage, right?
Or some other what's it called, non-custodial wallet like.
No, I would still say no on those. I mean, yes, they're good to use, but you got to keep in mind that non-custodial wallet companies are using an RPC to port into the QTs. So these companies, what they do is they themselves in their warehouse or in their offices, they have all these servers, and they download all these QT wallets from all these different blockchains. So they hold the blockchain, right, with all the data that we're transacting on, right? All they do is just mirror these QTs through the portal to the wallet interface, which is what we see now. If it's a bad wallet, all they have to do is turn off the RPC, and there it is. You have access to your private keys, which
that's what I'm saying.
You're downloading.
Right, that's what I'm making a point of. I use Zelcore wallet as well as Atomic wallet, and I have my keys. I have all of my keys backed up. I also have my 12-word or 20-word or 24-word passwords as well, and those are secure. So I have all my keys, and that's why I'm not totally against it. For one, if you want to, I don't know if anybody out there, does anybody out there have a Ethereum node that they run privately? Anybody? We have a private Ethereum node? Somebody? No? Okay, I don't either. You know why? Because it's fucking 16.5 terabytes. I don't have that much room. So I'm perfectly happy, even though I'm not personally all that much in favor of Ethereum itself, in letting somebody else manage that blockchain for me. There are much smaller. I have, gosh, how many do I have? I have at least 30 nodes, 30 Qt nodes that I run. They're full nodes that go through my office, and I'm fine with that. I've got plenty of bandwidth, so it's not that hard to manage that many nodes. But I keep all my coin locally. It is in my office, not in my house, but that is one way of making sure I have all my coin. But I'm personally very much in favor of the idea of using Atomic Wallet and Zelcore Wallet because I have my keys. If they want to shut that down, I got my keys. I can get it somewhere else.
Yep. So just make sure you keep your keys in a privacy safe place. That's another thing. What's the best way to secure your private keys? Do you just stream them on a YouTube video, or do you?
Shut up.
What's the best way, man? What's for me? It's always been the classic. And I'm not saying it's the best, but it's always been the classic pencil and paper. And Jake's always yelling at me. He's like, "Why do you use paper, man? You shouldn't be using paper. You're killing trees."
No, I'm not. I'm not a hugger. You know, I'm not a tree hugger.
Yeah.
I keep mine encrypted, but I do keep them online. So I would say it's a useful way to keep online. Of course, keeping my keys on somebody else's server was that kind of dumb, but it's encrypted, and I have the access to that encryption. So my keys are online in a shared service that somebody else has. But you probably say, well, why would you keep that there? It's like because I have it locally stored as well. I have it synced to my computer. And yes, someone could get that file off of that server from that other person. Could they crack it? Yeah, they might be able to crack it. 512-bit encryption is pretty thick. So I'm guessing it's possible they can crack it, but it's two-factor, so they'd have to have both of them just to get it out. So personally, yes, I do have it online. I do have my keys online, but they are encrypted in a 7-zip file. So I doubt someone's going to be able to get into those keys explicitly.
I'm kind of curious how other people store their private keys. Hardware wallet. Were those credit cards, or were you engrave your private keys on a metal plate?
Oh, I haven't seen that. That's kind of a neat idea.
Yeah, they have that out as well. You can use like a specialized pen and engrave your private keys on a metal plate and store that. Instead of using paper, because paper, once it gets wet, it's done.
Gets it wet. Yeah.
Once it burns,
it's subject to fire. It's subject to water. It's subject to all kinds of different. You can tear it up. You could swallow it.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you keep your keys, Xander? Or do you not want to talk about it?
He said he's putting his kids to sleep right now.
Okay. Anybody else want to talk about how they keep their keys?
Yeah. Let's see. Let's try to bring some people up to speak here. Let's see. Here we go. Give me a second. And anyone else want to speak? There you guys are. You guys are welcome to jump on in. How do you guys store your private keys? Share your experience on how you do that.
Is there some way that a person could just type it out if they don't want to talk?
No.
Okay.
No. This is Twitter Spaces. You got to come in and speak.
Hey, John, how are you?
Hello, welcome.
Well,
Rick.
You have to excuse me. I'm just in the middle of having some lunch here. It is midday in Australia.
Oh, no worries, bro. No worries. Where are you at? So everyone else knows where you're calling us from.
Brisbane, Australia. It's sunny
Australia.
Brisbane. Sunny Brisbane today.
Wow, you sound like you're from Texas.
Texas, not Texas.
I definitely heard an Australian accent there.
No, I know. I'm just joking with you, man.
Hey, Jabs, how are you? Good, Jabs?
All good, man. So, what's your experience with hacks, or did you have a response? And we're trying to also educate people on how to store your private keys.
Yeah, I think in terms of the crypto, so I got a mix between on-chain, on the exchanges, and also some of the off-chain decentralized wallets. So there is a mix, and I sort of share around in terms of different ones, just diversifying the risk. I think in terms of from a properties perspective, in terms of obviously how we tokenize real estate properties, it's a little bit different because obviously we are going to actually custody those tokens for token holders on our platform, only because these are long-term holds. We want to make sure people stay in the community, and I think when we're trying to actually bring mainstream into tokenized real estate, I think it's important that people see it as just like subscribing to a website. And if they lose their password to the website, we can give them another password. So in the first 2 years, I think we just got to keep it simple for people, given that we're tracking mainstream in. And I know people obviously who have been involved with crypto for a long time some of them see that as a negative, but I think this is not an NFT. This is property where everybody obviously has a token in the property, and there's 40,000 tokens. So we'll make sure people feel comfortable, and we're here for a long journey. And so it's a little bit different from sort of the cryptos or NFT side of things. But yeah, in terms of cryptos, I've diversified quite a. It is sometimes it becomes sort of challenging trying to keep track of all the different wallets and centralized and decentralized. But yeah, just de-risking. Okay, given my accounting background,
So
it's always de-risking, right?
yeah. How are you keeping those assets secured?
How do I keep? Look, I do have backups of them, so I do backups. I've actually got there's a new project that's actually launching here in Australia with some people that I do know, and they've actually gone. It's a blockchain project. They're about to actually go live on the exchanges, and it's what they called a rather than traditional blockchain. It's actually split chain it's driven by mobile phones. It's actually an ecosystem made up of mobiles. But theirs is actually quite unique. That so I do back it up to a USB stick. So it's very easy just to back up. You can back it up onto your any sort of drive, and I keep that on the USB drive. So that one there, it's very easy to do it. Obviously, some of the other ones, other wallets, the centralized, been obviously a bit more, it's a bit different. Some of them, and everyone's got a different ways to do it. Yeah. So that's just a bit of what I'm doing from that perspective, in terms of wallets. Yeah.
I'm kind of curious. What's the pros and cons, or how does your local government see crypto?
Look, it's a bit of a mix. Look, at the moment it's positive, but at the same time we're still far behind everybody else around the world. Look, they're doing a bit of discussion now with the government, and actually it's probably. I think the bottom line is they're open-minded, which is positive. But I think that open-mindedness is probably from a lack of awareness of education, what it actually is. And but look, in terms of yesterday, actually, the last couple of days, our Australian Stock Exchange, which is equivalent to the New York Stock Exchange, so there's a project that they're actually doing, the Australian Stock Exchange, that would actually have got a sort of a research project on the blockchain, and they're testing a few different things on it, with a view to possibly taking our exchange onto the blockchain. And they're using this project at the moment to be able to sort of be a pilot for what they're trying to achieve. So again, that's a massive positive, because just like it's just like the New York Stock Exchange, for example, going out and start doing a test pilot on a blockchain in terms of some of the tokenized assets. I know obviously T0. T0 is obviously there already from that perspective, but we're talking about much bigger than that in terms of their approach. Yeah.
I'm really curious about the backup. I'm enthusiastic about what you said. It's actually quite interesting to hear that this test project is happening. But with that size and that amount of money you're talking about on the entire stock exchange of Australia, I can't imagine. What kind of assurances are being given in the case that something is hacked, stolen, broken, shut down? Could you speak to that, or do you know of it?
Look, I just heard on the news a couple of days ago, and actually, the security tokens market actually also had on their video this week when they put it out on Mondays US time. So they were talking to that about in terms of that. So they actually know more than me. Then I also heard it on the news here yesterday about what they're doing. I don't know the final details, but I think it's a massive positive, because obviously they're looking at that angle to use the blockchain to possibly one day take the whole stock exchange onto the blockchain. Again, that's got to be a positive in terms of what they're thinking and that vision. Because again, it is our main stock exchange here. It's just like equivalent to the New York Stock Exchange. So that's a massive positive in terms of how they're thinking. Yeah.
I mean, forward thinking is absolutely amazing. I hope it doesn't fall into CBDC territory.
No.
But the thing that I keep thinking is that despite the enthusiasm, as the whole kind of point of this topic is, hacking is, I don't know if it's ever going to stop, because the only way that hacking would ever stop in the sense of dangerous or bad hacking is if everybody suddenly becomes moral for whatever reason. And even then, even with, it's like, I guess the example I'm thinking of as moralistic is, for a time in the United States in particular, it was considered moralistic to own people. It was part of the law. You were allowed to own other people, literally own them like an object. That was considered a lawful thing for hundreds of years, and not just in this country. And then eventually, some people were like, that's not a good idea. We should probably stop doing that. And then, of course, this country really fought a war over it. And what I'm basically getting at is that the moral aspects of what harms another person maybe benefits another. Absolutely, it does to some degree, but it's a question of selfishness. And I guess I'm not trying to get all religion, faith, whatever. I'm not trying to go that direction. I'm just trying to say, from a benefit standpoint, is it benefiting everyone or is it benefiting the few? And I'm not trying to say that oligarchy or aristocracy is wrong necessarily, but the reason we have hacking, the reason we have theft is not, it's like some of the hackers that have been out there that have actually done hacks have given the money back because they're just like, look, we tried to tell you that there was a hole in your security and you didn't take us seriously, so we just exploited the hole. Now you see we're serious, so we're going to give you the money back, and we're going to keep our finders fee, fine. But the thing that I look at it from that standpoint is nothing is perfectly secure. Nothing. There's no such thing as perfect security. And we just have to kind of deal with theft to some degree until the entirety of the world, if it ever happened, became moralistic. And even then, you can't even judge people's morals on that. You don't really know what's moralistic or what isn't. What one person thinks is moralistic is another person's, horrific, act. What another word to put it. But or what was I guess one man's trash, another man's treasure. But in that sense, we can't ever think that one is definitive. So we're always going to have hacking of some sort, whether it be white hat, just looking around for the sake of looking around, or black hat with intent to do malice. So it's I just worry, particularly with the governments, that we get things ironed out as cleanly as possible and put in assurances. I'm personally not in favor of the fact that we have to have insurance, but it's nice to know you do have it when something breaks. We don't always know when we're going to get into an automobile accident, so we have insurance, thankfully.
I guess, Jab, if you go back to, you're probably too young to remember, but if you go back to 92, when the internet was just starting out, like I still remember, and obviously I still remember the RSC chats, and obviously websites was very, very new back then, and we all thought in terms of, obviously there's going to be a lot of people taking advantage of the vulnerable in terms of how things pan out. And then we look back today in terms of, obviously, there's insurances in place, there's obviously security companies and businesses have been built from, in terms of, whether it be for some security perspective and all aspects of the internet where it is today. And I think we're very much at that point where we were in 92 when it came to the internet is, I think, where we are with blockchain. And I think people, there'll be solutions, there'll be insurances, there'll be all sorts of things that people develop businesses to take care of all aspects of what's happening in blockchain. And again, I just I get excited when I see that in terms of when I hear people developing different projects to take care of certain aspects of what's happening already on the blockchain. Yeah.
I appreciate that you think I'm as young as you think I am. Thank you.
Pleasure.
I'm glad I come off as young, because I got the impression some people, if you see me in person, you probably wouldn't say that, but if you think of me as being that, then I don't mind. I'm for progress. I am completely for it. I'm probably more for progress than most people, not just in my age group, but in most age groups. I've known plenty of people who are 10 years younger than me who are not nearly as in favor of technology as I. But I'm not, put it this way, I am probably one person to jump into new technology more than most. I jumped into crypto back in 2014, which is actually, John was ahead of me. He got into it before I did, but and he's technically younger than I am. But I guess it's just I'm thinking not about myself so much as I'm thinking about the greater all the rest of the world. Maybe in Australia, you guys are super forward thinking, and I would say in general, probably yes, compared to the United States, at least right now. But I'm concerned about the common man, the person who doesn't know this. And yes, I do want people to know more about how to protect themselves. I've been in IT long enough to have run my own programs on that to make sure that people are aware of what not to do. Don't answer the what looks like a real you had a package waiting. No, you don't have a package waiting. We don't do that. That's this way at this company. So that's a false flag. That's a fake notification. Do not click. I actually did courses on training people not to do that. So of course I'm interested in making sure people keep themselves secure. But not everyone is. Let me just give a slight aside here. I was talking to a farmer last Sunday, not this most recent, but the prior, so a week and a half ago, about aeroponic farming, which I'm really into right now. And I was blown away by the fact that even though as progressive as this particular farmer was, he was doing all kinds of new technology on his farm. He'd never heard of aeroponic farming. He'd heard of hydroponic farming, but not aeroponic farming. It's not that different, but it is still different. And the main concern for me was particularly right now with all this drought we've been having, particularly in the Western United States, it would be really, really useful to use less water, particularly 95% less water, which is what aeroponic claims. And I have seen it, so I know it's true. But it still blows my mind when I talk to someone who in their field, no pun intended, doesn't know about things that could drastically help their own current business model. And that's what I keep getting at. It's like I talked about aeroponics with an actual farmer, a person whose job it is to farm the land. He didn't know about that topic. He didn't know about that thing at all. And yet, the same sort of thing I think about with crypto. I could be super knowledgeable. I could be super knowledgeable. You could be super knowledgeable. Xander, Blockchain, John, we could all be really knowledgeable, but we're not in control of other people's money. Not that I want to be, but people can put their money where they want to, and if they lose it all, they're like, oh, I lost all my money. Well, what's the United States, at least, or maybe the Australian government trying to prevent people from doing? Losing all their money. So assurances, insurances, in order that if somebody does, and we also need laws so that we can say that once a person commits a crime of stealing money from others, that we have recourse. So I'm not in favor of centralization of crypto. I'm definitely in favor of decentralization, so that governments don't have full control over my life. But I also don't believe that those people who still wish to live under the government's control need to be robbed. So insurance, in my opinion, for those who do not educate themselves as deeply, still need to be in place. I don't expect everybody to know everything about everything. That's Google's job.
All right, so speaking about, sorry, Brick, did you have something?
Go on, John. Go on.
I just wanted to go transition over to government since Jake did bring up governments. There is what I'm going to loosely call a government crypto hack that's going on globally. And we all know what it is. It's a 4-letter acronym, CBDC, right? Centralized, CBC, central bank digital currencies, right? That, in my opinion, and it should be everybody's solid opinion, to be extremely terrifying to see that governments will have the ultimate control over everyone's money. Period.
It's scary. It's scary, John, because actually I was just on my brick walk. As you know, I do my brick walks and showcase people around Brisbane and Gold Coast, around the properties. And I'll just finish my brick walk and just having some lunch now. And I was listening to Bruce Fenton, actually. He was being interviewed by Rice TV, which actually put it in on the tweets. It was actually quite a great conversation. They were talking about CBDC and some great points that they actually made. And again, it's very scary. CBDC, I don't think people really appreciate how bad it could be. It's not just in terms of still the ability to print unlimited money. It goes far beyond that in terms of if they decide to, it'll be illegal to smoke, people won't be able to buy. They'll be switched off in terms of they'll be able to pay with their wallet for smokes. So, and it just goes deeper and deeper. Here in Australia, we've actually, in not so much a CBDC, but the fundamentals is actually very similar. What they've actually trialed in some areas here in Australia, in terms of the social welfare and people getting social welfare, they actually started controlling in terms of what people can actually spend their social welfare money on.
Like a UBI.
Yeah, similar. So basically, they give you a credit for your social money for the fortnight, and then they basically turn off. You can't spend on gambling, you can't spend on smoking. So they actually restrict in the code of that in terms of what people can actually spend it on. Yeah.
Brick, is this a new thing, or has this been going on for a while?
No, just they basically trial in certain areas of Australia. Some of the sort of like there's some indigenous communities that they've done with that they have troubles with alcohol. The first probably years they tried on that from that perspective, but now they're actually trying with sort of the people who are retired in some areas and actually restricting them actually using that money for gambling in terms of pokies. So again, it's the fundamentals in terms of what they're doing is very much the future of what they want to be in terms of CBDC. But
I mean, we've had that in the US for a while too. Is food stamps? You're not allowed to buy certain things with food stamps. So.
But thing is, like, you think of it in terms of where this is going, governments, and I know what they're going with this. It becomes a trial in these different areas, and I think they're doing a social good, but this is actually far more sinister in terms of where they want to take it in terms of that whole CBDC.
Exactly.
Yep.
I don't think people really see that because they're starting off with these whole little like pockets of testing different communities with these UBIs, like, hey, this is a low-income neighborhood or a low-income city or state. They deserve. I think Alaska has their own state UBI. Is that correct, Jake?
Yes. Yeah, they do. That's correct.
Yeah.
It does have some stipulations, but they do have one. Yes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what's terrifying is that people are one, dependent. Okay. Two, they swear that the government or the taxpayers literally owe them this. Like they are demanding their UBI or their money that they get for free, right? They're not working. They're not paying taxes. They're not working for it. They're just waiting for their check to come in to spend it on whatever they're going to spend it on, which, you can still barter things with it, right? There's still loopholes you can easily get away with. If you're a drug addict, you could find loopholes from using food stamps or your UBI, right? It boggles my mind that there's not some type of exam or testing or inspection, like quarterly inspection with people that are doing these. There has to be something there. And I think with blockchain technology, that is going to just. But then again, if we do that, you're involving the government to get in and utilize blockchain and create a CBDC. That's what's man, it's complicated, man. It's complicated.
You think of it, John. You think of it. They then have the ability to really, in the code of a CBDC, be able to control really in terms of what you're spending money on, and that's really scary. You start thinking of all the things in society, and what you could actually be switched off and selectively be switched off.
Yeah,
that's scary. Very scary.
Yeah, it is. I mean, hey, man, you bought too many Coca-Colas this month. We're gonna cut you off. You won't be able to buy anymore. Or we're having a fresh water shortage. You're not allowed to buy water with your money.
But I love my sweets. I'm scared they're gonna switch off my sweet supply.
Yeah, it could be any number of things, but it is just a method of control yet again. So
they should have did that when there was a big run on the toilet paper. Right?
Yeah.
Started limiting.
Oh, but see, then that's the slippery slope, right?
Yeah. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. We're about an hour and a half in, and that's a good way to end it, man. What do you guys think? Until next week. If you guys want to hang out next week, we'll be here. We'll be trying to do this Twitter Spaces every single week. It's an open hang.